Hey everyone, welcome back. Happy Wednesday, hump day. So we're in the middle of the week right now. What do we have to talk about? We have Cipher. There's rumors that they are possibly looking to get bought out by a larger HPC player. And we don't know which one that is, but there's rumors swirling around that. And then we'll just take a look at really quick the Bitcoin miners versus the Bitcoin network hash rate. How much have the miners grown their hash rate percentage, or the we'll just take a look at that, I guess. And we'll get into the Q&A side of things, so it should be a pretty easy day here. As always, you guys know the drill. Not financial advice for entertainment only. Please do your own research. And my full disclosure for you guys, if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. And I'm a little winded because right now I had to run upstairs and let my dog in and run back down before we went live here. So I'll catch my breath eventually here. Let's get into what we do have here on Bitcoin really quick, see what's going on there with the miners. The miners didn't do too well today. But it wasn't too bad either, I think. So Bitcoin was actually down today. If we look at the chart here, this is on the daily. We can see that Bitcoin was down 1.54% on the day. We needed a little bit of pullback. We were basically 5 days in the green here. A nice little pullback does help out. RSI did come down a little bit here as well. We're at 59 on the daily. On the 4-hour chart, we're below the 70 right now as well. We're at 61 roughly or so. 62 you could say. Last time we were back here, price was actually, let's see here, this was over here. Price was actually lower at that point. So it's looking pretty good here on the 4-hour chart, 1-hour chart, same thing. RSI right now is at 51. Last time we were at this level, we were lower here. RSI back here was actually, the price was lower and we're higher in the price right now. So that's looking pretty good. And you might be able to hear my dog actually howling upstairs right now. Something spooked her. But yeah, so Bitcoin didn't have a great day today, but it wasn't a bad day either. It was down a little bit. We needed that, a little pullback. I think that was healthy. Miners, same thing. We had a little pullback here. The main ones that were down today was Argo, was down 9.58. And it was down 7%. Bit Digital was down 4%. BitDeer was down about 7.7%. Bitfarms was down just barely, 0.34%. Cipher was flat on the day. Cleanspark was down 3.6%. CORZ 4.15, Digihost down almost 2%, I guess you could say. Digihost 2.45. Hive was down just barely again, 0.25. Hot 8 was down 5.73. IREN was down 8.75. Marathon was down 4.38. Mawson was up actually 2.41% today. Riot was down 2.2. Stronghold was down 8.5, and Wolf was down 7.52. Now, when we look at Cipher here, you can see it's had a huge run up here. It reached a new high today actually. Went up to almost $8 here, which was right on that line there of the Fibonacci retracement level here that we saw at 1.618. It was $8.03. It got pretty close to that, and it came back down here during the day. So it's had a nice rally here in the last couple of days. If we look where it actually went up from, just when was this, on Friday? On Friday, it went up to today, 54% here. Is there any truth to the story about them possibly getting bought out by somebody? We don't know, but we do have a story on that from Bloomberg. And let's get into that right now, and we'll see what's going on with them. They do look like they are kind of being overbought right now on the RSI, which could lead to that having some truth to it. We saw the same thing with, Grid. When Cleanspark was getting ready to buy out Grid, we saw the same thing kind of happen here, but Grid went up much higher in price or in percentage gains than what we are seeing here right now with Cipher. Okay, so let's take a look at the story that we do have here on Cipher. We'll get into the other things as well. So here's a story from Bloomberg. Bitcoin miner Cipher mulls sale amid takeover interest. And Cipher Mining is exploring a potential sale after receiving takeover interest. People familiar with the matter said, as soaring demand for data centers make Bitcoin miners take over targets. So there's somebody that's close to that deal potentially. And they've spilled the beans on it, but they want to be anonymous still here. So the U.S.-based Cipher is working with advisors as it seeks to gauge potential buyer interest, according to the people who asked not to be identified, discussing confidential information. Deliberations are in the early stages, and there's no certainty that Cipher will decide to pursue a sale, the people said. A representative for Cipher declined to comment, right? They're not going to comment on anything that's ongoing unless there's actually something concrete. And then the artificial intelligence boom has created an unprecedented shortage of data center space. As a result, crypto mining companies, which already sit on necessary infrastructure, are being targeted by AI firms looking to boost their computing capabilities via acquisitions. So that's pretty interesting, right? We've been hearing a lot about this in the last, I would say, probably 2 to 3 months or so, with big HPC AI push going forward because of the what's what I'm looking for here? The strong support, I guess, or you could say adoption of ChatGPT, right? With 3.5, 4 now. That's leading to a pretty sizable demand, I guess you could say. But the real demand that we've only seen so far is from BitDigital with their customer that they got for like 92, 97 million, whatever it is, annually from that. CORZ Scientific as well, with CoreWeave having a 3.5 billion now. It's actually an increase, I think. With the latest number that they have, it's like 4 point something billion for 12 years. So there is some interest out there, but just how much of that huge increase is there, or interest is there with other miners as well? We don't know. We'll find out what happens here with Cipher here. Would it make sense for Cipher to sell? Cipher does have some growth this year. A lot of their growth is not until next year, which is quite interesting there. If we look at the numbers here, let's take a look at Cipher here. We'll get into this here in a second here, but let's get into Cipher here really quick. Cipher is supposed to be growing to approximately 13.8 exahash. The good thing about Cipher is that they do have really low cost of power, right around 2.9 cents on average for the facilities. So that helps them out tremendously there. And anybody looking to buy them out for HPC AI is going to benefit hugely because of that low power cost there. So there is, I think, maybe there's some interest in it, but I think there's, if you were to be looking for like a big HPC AI player, somebody that's got a lot of bags or a lot of money, you could say, is looking to buy infrastructure and things like that, access to megawatts, this would be maybe a pretty good play on that. If you could get it done at a reasonable price, you lock in those rates for the low electricity as well. But yeah, that's the only thing I could see here for them, right? So we got them at 13.8 by the end of the year potentially. That's what they've been purchased so far, and they are. Let's see, they do have some joint ventures as well with Alvarez, Bear, and Chief. And that one, those are, I believe, what are those? Let me see here. I have the numbers here someplace. I don't have the numbers here. Why don't I have the numbers? I know it's a certain percentage. I know it's less than 50% on there. I can't remember exactly the numbers for it, what that is for it. Let me see if it comes up over here. I don't. Yeah, I'm not showing it. 49%. Yeah, so they have 49% of the joint ventures there as well. Okay. But yeah, that is it on Cipher here. Would it make sense for them to be bought out? I don't know if it would make sense for them. I think the growth that they have for this year is pretty good. It's not great. It's good. A lot of their growth is going to be next year with the Black Pearl site in Texas. They could grow much more in their hash rate there, but they could also turn it over into HPC AI if they wanted to, really. So it's interesting to see where, depending on the price target is, obviously on the buyout. Is it around where it's at right now, which is at $6.78? Is it higher than that? I think right now they're pretty fairly valued as it is. But if somebody's offering, $7, something like that for them, does that make sense? Could they be valued more being a self-sustained mining company and HPC AI play potentially? I think that might be a case for that as well. So that's why they have to evaluate all the stuff that's happening with them right now, if they are getting buyout offers from somebody. Right, that's going to be based on the board there doing their due diligence and investors as well. I know Bitfury still owns quite a large amount of shares there. So they might have some input as well into that going forward. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Okay. So that's it on Cipher here. Let's take a look at where is it at? The network hash rate compared to Bitcoin miners. What is that looking like right now? And there it is. Okay. So on this one, or at least I track the numbers for the Bitcoin network hash rate going all the way back to basically, this is, I think, going to July of 2022 compared to where we are right now, along with the miners, how they have performed here with their hash rate growth going forward as well. And here's what we got. So we have seen a pretty sizable increase in network hash rate from just 2 years ago, right? We were at 210 exahash. We peaked at 623 exahash, and this is on the 30-day monthly, 30-day average basically chart there. We did come down in May a little bit here to 600 exahash, down a little bit more in June to 580. That leads me to think that some of the less inefficient miners are coming offline right now, and the miners that are publicly traded are actually gaining market share right now based on this. Okay, here's a month-over-month difference on it. Let me see here. The blue line is the network hash rate increase for Bitcoin, and the green bars are the Bitcoin miners. And we see that the miners had pretty nice increases here in the last 2 months. So May, they were up 8.6 exahash. In June, they were up 13.75 exahash, whereas the Bitcoin network itself was down 23 exahash and 20 exahash as well. Okay, that's nice to see there. And then this is the public Bitcoin miners percentage of Bitcoin network hash rate. And so this is only for the 11 or 12 miners that I cover right now. Those are the large miners that are getting to at least 5 exahash this year. And we can see here that the performance as far as market share of the network hash rate peaked here. Their best prior to this number here that we're seeing here right now was back in July of last year. They were at 23.1% of the market network hash rate. They were trending downwards through April, and then just recently here in May, they increased to 22.8, and then June in 25.9. This is the highest that they've been as far as market share of the network hash rate for the last 2 years that I've been tracking this since, probably going even back further. So that tells me that they are growing faster than the network hash rate and then other private miners as well. That is a good thing. That's something we want to see. We want to see the public miners gain market share overall on that one. Okay, going down here, what do we have here? Oh, how much the miners grew month over month. 10% here was the growth they had in June over May. That's all really good there as well. Like I said, this is just something to take a look at. They had huge growth here in October of 2022 and in August as well. 21% growth there combined for all the miners on that one. And then when we look at the individual miners themselves, what is their percentage of the network hash rate or their market cap of the network hash rate? We can see that all the miners have increased their percentage of the network hash rate, market share there basically, except for CORZ. CORZ actually went down in hash rate, whereas pretty much all these miners here went up in hash rate. Big movers here were, let's see, Bitfarms was up quite nicely from 1.25% here to 1.79% of the network hash rate. Cleanspark also was up quite nicely from 2.9, almost 3% of the network hash rate to 3.5. Biggest one was actually Riot here. Riot was up from 2.4, so almost 2.5 exahash, 2.5% of the network hash rate to 3.8. Sizable growth here in June for them and for Riot. Mara also was up a little bit here as well, 5.1 to 5.4%. But you can see here that pretty much everybody was up. If you're seeing yellow here, that means they were up. If you're seeing blue, that means they were down from the previous month in hash rate market share for the network. Okay, so really good to take a look at this sometimes just to see how the miners are performing against the Bitcoin network hash rate. I like seeing this as well, and I definitely like seeing the growth month over month compared to the network hash rate, because that means they're going to be generating probably a little bit more revenue because of it. Okay, but that is it. Let me know what you guys think of that. As always, my little sales pitch here for this is Patreon members get access to all these spreadsheets and all the data and metrics and everything else that I do. It's $8 a month. You might be able to still find some spots that are $5 and $4 a month. And then if you pay the annual subscription, you get 10% off of that as well. Plus, you get access to the Discord server, which is our private server there, which we have a lot of great people on there communicating and just putting out what they are doing. Okay, you guys probably hear my dog barking like crazy. I don't know what's driving her crazy out there. It could be a duck or something like that, or she got freaked out by her own shadow. But that's it. Let's get into your guys' Q&A side of things. See what you guys have to say. Any questions and things like that. As always, it's going to be delayed by a little bit. It's about 15-second delay or something like that by the time I read the questions to you guys. From the time you guys write it, and it's going to be delayed even more once you guys pile in more questions. Okay, but let's get into that, and we'll call it a day here. LB, the dog, please, can't hear anything. Yeah, so you guys are hearing the dog. Yeah, I mean, she's upstairs, I'm downstairs. I need to soundproof my basement. Let's see here. Robbie says, respectfully, you guys complaining about a dog when we're gaining financial knowledge. Come on. Yeah, I mean, I could go up there and try to quiet her down, but then you guys would have nothing but dead noise for at least a minute or something like that while I calm her down. Let's see here. Jared says, Ben Gagnon announced on the Fireside Chat today that they are fully funded to... Oh, That is fantastic and beyond. This is a huge news that we haven't been, that if that's the case. I was trying to listen to that fire chat. I went to the Bitfarms website today to see if there was a recording of it. But if they're fully funded 21 exahash and beyond, that's fantastic news. Thank you for sharing that. Let's see here. Question: did IREN misinform us about the Childress facility for AI, or is it, or it's was a made-up story by the short report? It was a made-up story by the short report. We knew they said that they have the potential to do also in Childress HPC AI, but it's better to do it in Canada, right, where they're doing it right now because it's just cooler climate. So you don't need that cooling there that might be required and things like that. So, but they did say that they do have the optionality to do it as well at Childress, but I think they would probably need to do some cooling at that point, maybe. But yeah, I think the short report was overly exaggerating things. Let's see. Hey Seb, does the Bitcoin double top concern you similar to 21 in the 5-year time frame? Well, the difference is that we had a top before the halving event, which we didn't have in prior cycles. We had a double top in 2021, mainly because of the China banning Bitcoin mining at that point. And once that hash rate moved over to other places, United States, Kazakhstan, possibly Russia as well, other places, mostly to the United States though, it did rebound and we did have a double top at that point. I don't think this is the similar case right now, but we'll see. Let's see here. Yeah, while big news if true on Bitfarms, yeah, if they're fully funded to 20, they need to put out a press release if they are. I think that would move the stock. It has moved the stock for other companies as well. We saw it for Cleanspark. We saw it for IREN. They need to come out and put that out there actually as a press release. I'm surprised that they didn't do that. Let's see here. What else do we have here? Fire Red says, hey Seb, love your work. As you know, the negative impact Bitfarms has been having with Riot trying to buy them out. Do you believe this will negatively impact Cipher as well? Well, depending on if it's a hostile takeover or not, right? If it's somebody that comes in and says, we're going to give you $7 a share, and they refuse that offer, and then the company goes away, not so much, right? But at least it puts in the floor possibly at $7 for then for the share price of Cipher. Let's see. Darren says, enjoyed the percentage of total hash rate statistics. Yeah, I find it interesting too, just to see how the miners are comparing to everybody else out there, right? The miners, for the most part, are a small part, like 20-25% of the network that we track here. And what's going on with the other 75% or 80% of the network hash rate? It's always good to take a look at those. Hey, so what's your view on Soluna? It's relatively new startup miner with a low market cap. It's not a new startup miner. They've been around for quite a while. They were around back in 2021. 2022 was a bad year for them. They got into financial trouble at that point. They changed over CEOs. They have a new CEO in place right now. He seems to be doing a lot better. The only thing that I'm not too keen on with them is the partnerships that they're doing for all the data centers. I wish they were able to do that, to fund those more on their own side of things, because I just don't know how that's going to play out in the long run with that. The question, where do you see Cipher moving forward? Well, depending. Well, is the news actually true? Will they get bought out? So that's a big question there. We might see something from Cipher coming out the next day or so. I think maybe they will provide an update saying that, this is either a false story, negative story or something like that, or if it has any meat to it, will they actually say, yes, we're going through the due diligence process right now, and maybe we'll provide some information. We'll see. If Bitcoin is 100,000, what price do you think IREN gets to, assuming they hit their exahash targets, even if they don't get any HPC ideals? At that point, I would think, so you're looking roughly, like I said before, I think in yesterday's video also, we're looking at maybe, 50% increase from where we are right now. I could see the miners at that point getting 3x, maybe somewhere around there. I would say somewhere around 3x, possibly higher. But I think that might be something, I think that would be fair at that point. Let's see here. Should I pick up more IREN or start to buy Riot? Hard decision. What do you think? Riot is undervalued right now. IREN is, I think, a little bit better valued. The only big question with Riot is, can they actually improve their operational uptime and mine more Bitcoin with the hash rate that they have, or have a higher hash rate percentage uptime as well? If they can do that, I think they will do very well, and they might actually outperform in the short term, like IREN a little bit here. IREN's had a nice run up here recently. So that's kind of the way I would look at it, maybe that way. But I think in the long run, IREN still has a great future going forward. I still think a 5x is definitely in the cards for it, if not higher, depending where Bitcoin goes. Let's see. Is that Cleanspark? Be interested in Cipher? Not at that valuation, not at 2.2 billion. That's basically half of Cleanspark's valuation at that point. But you never know. It could be. But they would be spending a lot of money for that if that was the case. Let's see. Darren says, I've been doing this for a long time, and miners' revenue versus market cap is sharply decreasing. This has caused me to sell 8% of my miners expecting a correction. Do you agree with the strategy? Short term, there might be a correction. If you're looking at the long term side of things, I think we're still pretty low from where we probably should be in the next 12 to 18 months. I look at the long term, not the short term. Do you follow any level 2 info for stock? Bid asks, it looks like Bitfarms has a huge sell wall right at $3. Market makers just trying to keep it down. I don't really look at the level 2 side of things for bid and ask on them. I look more on their operations, their growth going forward, where I think they should be. We know that Bitfarms has Riot trying to take him over with a hostile takeover. So that's possibly also keeping the stock down. But yeah, I don't know. If we do have at $3 a huge sell wall, it could be a possibility there. Might be a good opportunity to dollar cost average in if you can, because I do think eventually they will either weather the storm with Riot, or Bitcoin price is going to go up in value where it's going to just it's going to break through that $3 range. Question: have our price targets for any of the miners when Bitcoin reaches changed since our video on last month? I haven't done the update on that yet. I will do that. We might do that tomorrow. We'll see if I can get that information. I do have that information, so I should just be able to update that. We'll see where the miners are right now. Where do we think Bitcoin could go? We'll look at it tomorrow, but I'm not sure if they change it all. Do you believe Cipher will continue this strong growth via these large jumps, 15 to 20 cents at a time, following a long BTC incline? I currently have my average at 7, so I'm hoping to see continued rise. You have Cipher at an average of 7. Let's see here. Let's take a look at that one. When were you buying it if it's at $7? Let me see here. Were you buying it beforehand? I'm trying to think. I mean, you must have been buying back in like 2021 timeframe then if you were at $7 average, based on what I'm seeing here, because recently it hasn't been below 7 since probably December of 2021, which we're getting into the bear market at that point. Other than that, it's been continuing to go up here. So if you've been holding on for that long, if Cipher continues to go their own way, right, not being bought out, I do think that they will go above 7 eventually. Bitcoin price going up and everything else. Right now, they are a little bit overheated here on the RSI. I would think we might see a little bit of a pullback, just to kind of make things a little bit less frothy with them, and then possibly go up as Bitcoin goes up as well. That's kind of the way I would look at it right now. Okay. What else do we have here? Jeff, yes, hit the like buttons, everyone. Thank you. High special ride price of Bitcoin hits 100,000. Again, 50% increase from where we are right now. I would say possibly the 2 to 3x increase on Riot if they can get their operations with much better uptime. That's kind of the way I would look at it. Possibly even higher than the 2 or 3x I'm saying. It just all depends on how well can they execute. Let's see what else here. Which miner has the highest uptime and at what percentage? The ones that usually have a high uptime are Hive. Hive is usually pretty good there. Digital is really good as well. Who else do we have there? Cleanspark, Bitfarms, IREN. Those guys usually have really good uptime as well. Then you have TeraWolf, Cipher in there possibly as well, towards the lower end side of things. But historically, monthly speaking, those are like the top 5 miners there. I said, what kind of price action for Bitfarms do you expect around September 10th, 2024, the record date for voting? I don't know. To be honest, I have no clue how that's going to work out there. I don't know if people are going to be buying at that point. I think it's going to depend on where Bitcoin goes from here to then. Bitcoin continues to go up. We might see pretty good price action on Bitfarms and also all the other miners as well. But yeah, I don't know. Let's see. BitDeer CSO said Bitmain is worth more than all public miners combined, and if BitDeer can manufacture more efficient ASICs in the next 12 months, aren't they super undervalued? Yes, but the only thing is how much market share can they get or take away from Bitmain? And that's the big question there, right? Bitmain might be the biggest, might have more market cap than the miners because some people are saying that they may have like 60 to 80 exahash of the network hash rate. We just don't know. It's not public information. The other thing is they sell a lot of miners, the ASIC miners. So it depends on how well they can take market share away from them, what kind of pricing they offer to their customers, options to buy more miners going forward at same price levels and at better efficiencies. That all will play into it. So I just don't know. We saw, what was it? Intel just 2 years ago get into the ASIC space and exit out within a year. So it's not an easy industry to get into, to break in and break through it. So we'll see how they do. But if they can do those things, then yeah, they would be undervalued. If Cipher is bought out, will share price go up further? Nah, depending where the buyout offer is at. If it's at $7 or $8, it might go up to that. If it's $6.50, it would stay probably around there. So we'll see. Let's see. Jeff says BTC Nashville conference pumps miners in BTC. Oh, gosh, I would have to look back. I mean, they usually happen around the same time, around July. I am planning to attend the Nashville conference the next week, potentially, if I can get the stuff done around my house that I need to get done with the remodel. So I have bought tickets for the event. I don't have any hotel rooms right now because I just don't know if I'm going to be able to make it. But I would like to go there. So we'll see. I could, especially in a bull run. If we're in a bull run, it might. Let's see. Now that Bitfarms is fully funded to 21 exahash and beyond, price target by end of 2024. Bitcoin is at 100,000. At 100,000, 50% up from where it's at right now. I think Bitfarms should be valued at least $4 or $45 right now. Based on when that's undervalued right now, I think it's still probably could do like a 3 to 5x from where it's at right now, if not even higher. So at that point, 3 would get them to 6. A 5 would get them to, roughly around $12 or something like that. They're at $2 and something right now. So we get them around $12. I think somewhere in there. Conservatively, I think that's kind of where they could get to. Let's see. Are you buying Cipher? I am not. I don't like to buy rumors. But rumors sometimes have worked out pretty well. Last rumor that was on Grid worked out really well for those people that bought into it. I didn't buy into it, so yeah, we'll see. But I'm not planning on buying anything. See, I got caught making a couple quick plays when it jumped to $7.99 today, and now sitting at, okay, so you were buying today, hoping we can get out should there be a potential dip. Yeah, well, that's tough, right? You usually want to buy on down days, not on green days. Sometimes you have to buy on green days because things are just going up. I bought on green days for IREN, but for Bitfarms and Cleanspark, I was buying on as many red days as I could. Yeah, so that might be a little tough, depending on what the offer comes in at, and if it's an actual offer, is it confirmed? Will the company accept it? Will they not accept it? That's the tough part there. If they don't accept it, I would expect the stock to go up higher. If they do accept the offer around 650 or something like that, then it might be tough for the stock to go up higher than that, potentially. Hi, Seb. Is it start of a bull run for BTC and miners? Thanks. Typically, the bull run starts 2 to 3 months out after the halving event. It is a different cycle. We've had a new all-time high before the halving event, which we never had before. Based on historical, I would think that this might be the start of a bull run, especially once we get past July into August, September. I think that's when we might start going up a little bit more. Let's see. I have 40,000 in Cipher and 20 in Bitfarms. Would you convert some percentage of Cipher into Bitfarms? I do think that Bitfarms is more undervalued than Cipher right now. based on the current hash rate growth that they have for this year to 21 exahash, whereas Cipher is only 13 exahash and change. And then if they get bought out, that might cap the stock. That might cap the stock price at a certain point. We just don't know which price it might be. So maybe. I did the same thing with Cleanspark. I took out 20% that I basically, the amount that I put into it and bought into IREN because I saw at that point IREN was more undervalued and I think there was maybe a little bit more upside potential with it. Let's see. What is the Cleanspark fair price range right now? If we're looking at them, let me go in my spreadsheet here really quick. Cleanspark, there it is. Okay, pull that up. Cleanspark right now having between $15 and $22. They're at $19 right now. I think they're pretty fairly valued right now based on where we are. I think as Bitcoin goes up, we will definitely track higher on that because their revenues are going to increase going forward. And yeah, they could probably catch a higher than PE 20 once we get into full FOMO and everything else with Bitcoin going up. Okay. What else do we have here? Hello Sub, why some miners' share price were higher than what is now when what it is now when BTC was around 40,000 Bitfarms were Riot, for example. Why some miners' share price were higher? Well, okay, so Bitfarms is a good example, right? Share price of, let me see here, when was that? Bitcoin, when was the share price around 40,000? We're going back to probably, oh man, come on, load. Why is it not loading for me? There it is. Okay. 40,000. Last time we were at 40,000 was back in right around December timeframe, right? So if we look at, okay, let's take a look at it here. We were right around this range here at 40,000 range. This was basically from December 4th through February. So approximately 2 months or so of trading in the 40,000 range. We came down to 39. We went up to 49. We were basically in that range here. So let's take a look at Bitfarms here really quick. Where's it at? Right there. Bitfarms back from, we're going back to July. Where's December? December was here, December 7th. At that point, the stock price was actually at, where did it close at? It closed at $2.14, and then we went up as high as $3.32, and then into February, where did we end up at? February 7th or so it was. We were February 5th. Let's see, February 5th we were at $2.24. So it's kind of like where it's at right now. They're up a little bit higher than that. I think there was a lot of FUD with Bitfarms. That might explain part of it. And then we had Riot trying to take him over here recently. The CEO going away. That, I think, kind of suppressed the stock price with them. For Riot, it's been their operations, really, where I think that one hasn't done that well. Let's see, if we go back to, not that one, December 5th or so, right around there, they were at, not that one, where is it at? December 5th, here. Their price, they closed at $15.14. They did go up to, let's see here, they went up to $18 by the end of December. Then they fell pretty hard here through the middle of January. It looks like January 19th. They were at a low of $10. That's when they closed. They came back up on it into February 20th. And by March, was it 4th that we were looking at here? They were back down to 13. I think it's just their operations. And their operations weren't great into that. And they came down, came back up, and they're coming back up here a little bit now. And that's, I think, with the anticipation of their operations improving going forward. But they're pretty high on the RSIs right now as it is. Let me see, where's the RSI? 71.82. Last time they were close to that was back here. Price was actually higher on the daily chart. So I'd like to see a reversal on that. On the 1 hour chart, we could look at it. Let's see here, that's 68. Last time they were back here. Price was lower, so they're looking pretty good on the 1 hour chart. But I think it's just operations for Riot, and Bitfarms just FUD on them, quite honestly. From what I've been able to tell here recently. What else do we have here? Which miners other than Bitfarms has the most potential for price upside in your opinion? Okay, that's a pretty good question there. Other than that, I think maybe Hive potentially. Hive is way undervalued compared to the miners. If you look at just enterprise value to hash rate, they're on the towards the bottom end of things right now. If they come out with some good news that they're getting to 10 exahash, 15 exahash, something like that, in the next 6 to 12 months, I think that might be a really good catalyst for the stock to go up there. We'll have to see if we get that. I don't know if we're going to get that, but I think that one might be one out there. What was the other one that was kind of undervalued? Was it Bittier that we looked at yesterday, I think? Maybe Bittier was also undervalued from where they maybe should be. And that one, let's see what else we have here. See, Scott says, I sold all Cleanspark today and bought Mora, down 5.5% today, but as always says, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, that might not be a bad play. Mora's supposed to be going to 50 exahash this year, which would make him the largest miner by about 18 exahash or so, compared to like Cleanspark, which is supposed to get to 32 exahash. Riot's supposed to get to 31 exahash. IREN's supposed to get to 30 exahash. So they would definitely make him a bigger run. And they're still, they're still leading the market cap race right now. So they have the name recognition as well. If they can fix their operations as well, I think there's good things to go for Marathon. Let's see here. Scott says, did Monday and Tuesday's price action change any of your very short-term strategies of where you'll be adding next? No, not really. If we were down on the miners, I think that might have changed things, but we were actually up on the miners. I still want to get more into Bitfarms if I can. I would like to see some more red days potentially in the short term at least for IREN, Cleanspark, and maybe Core as well to buy more into them if I could. But if they would continue to go up more here, I'm going to be still possibly going to get into Bitfarms because I think it's still more undervalued than the other ones. Let's see. What else do we have here? Do you think if the sale rumor are false for Cipher, the price will dip? Potentially, right? If nobody's made an offer, if we at least hear that somebody made an offer at like $6.50 some dollars or $6 even that, I think that might put in a kind of like a floor in the price for Cipher here for the short term. But if we don't get anything substantive as far as news, then yeah, then we might come back down here. Question: Bitfarms and IREN exahash, which one is higher? Right now, I believe. Oh gosh, I know they're close to each other. IREN's at 10 exahash right now. Bitfarms was operating. Let's see here. I don't think they were at. What do we have them at for Bitfarms? I'm looking at them. For the end of June, they were operating at 10.4. Looks like installed, but I don't think they were fully operational on those. So I think IREN is actually a little bit higher on operational hash rate right now. Ed says, looking at the last cycle, many miners 10x between October 2020 and January 2021, when BTC has only 2x'd. Any explanation for that much increase? Thank you so much. The other difference that we had back then was the miners were actually going down a year into the halving event. This halving cycle that we just had, the miners were actually going up. So that's why I'm saying it's a different cycle around. You may have to look back into to see how the miners have did from the end of December 2022, which the miners kind of bottomed out at that point, to where they might actually end up at this bull cycle to get a comparison on that as far as the X multiple. Because a lot of the miners are up already. Cleanspark's up probably, I can't remember what it's at right now. If I look all the way back then, 600, 700% up, something like that. So it's like 7x right now already. A lot of the miners are also in that like 5x, 6x range already, 3x, 4x from the end of December 2022. So that's the difference that I'm seeing here on that side of things. Right before the 2021 cycle, the halving event happened in May. And a year prior to that, the miners were going down in price. Bitcoin was kind of trading sideways, going up a little bit, but the miners were coming down. We did not see that this time around. So that's maybe why you're seeing a difference here. Question: hello sub, I have the impression IREN is going down more than other miners. Why is that? Thank you. not sure why you would have that impression. Did you guys see the news story today, or it wasn't really a news story, but somebody posted it that IREN is looking for server managers, HPC AI, something like that. They have a couple job openings for different positions for the HPC AI side of things. They might come down a little bit. Let me see here. Let's take a look at IREN here really quick as well. They got a little frothy here, but they came back down, right? They got to 1575 here. This was on Monday, July 8th. We're looking at the 1 hour chart. Let's look at the daily chart. Got a little frothy here. A nice healthy pullback came in here. RSI improved definitely. The short report came out also bringing the stock down. From here, I think it might be actually, I mean, we have pretty good support here at the 1080 range, maybe. We might be able to bounce off of that going forward. We'll see. If that doesn't hold, then we're going down to like 950 range here, which we had a prior high here as well. So something to look at. If you think that IREN will do well going forward with their growth to 30x this year, if you have strong conviction in them, if you see dips in them, I would say dollar cost average into them. Right? Be fearful when others are greedy, and be greedy when others are fearful. That's the kind of way I like to look at things. But yeah, let's get into this. What else we got here? Bill says DMG blockchain has 1.7 exahash plus are working on a new site, having their own mining pool, and have worked with PayPal. If they implement their core plus strategy, where do you see the price? Similar market cap right now. Yeah, geez, I don't know. That is a tough one. It's tough to say where they might actually go. They don't have much growth going forward, at least nothing that's been purchased. I know that they have sites they can grow into, but I just don't know how much they can grow into that as far as hash rate is concerned. And having a 70 market cap, that doesn't give them a lot of levers to pull on. I don't know if they want to pull on the ATM to do that. That's why it's tough for the smaller miners like DMG, Digihost. Who else is on the smaller side of things there? I think out of the smaller ones, Digihost, DMG might have the best option to do things well. Soluna might be another one there. But the other ones like Sphere 3D, Argo, yeah, but those are going to be tough. What else we got? Based on Cipher recent growth and the way the company is managed, I'm remaining optimistic. Do you think the ceiling could be in the teens range for them? Sale news doesn't add up right now. Opinion. Well, I don't think they would. I mean, that depends on the board there, right? Do the board think that it's a good offer or not at like the $6 or $7 range? I would say probably not on that. And I would say this possibly could put in a floor for the price at $6 or $7, somewhere around there, if they do get an offer around there. And the reason they might get an offer is because we've seen CoreWeave bid for Core Scientific at approximately, what was it, $1 billion valuation or something like that. So there is some interest out there. Could it be some of the hyperscalers going in after these guys as well? Could be. We don't know. Time will tell. We'll have to wait, unfortunately, on a lot of the stuff. It'd be nice to be a fly on the wall in some of those meetings and see what's going on there. But that would be illegal at that point. Let's see it. Why is Cipher up to 50% in the last 3 days? Can't just be a sales rumor. It could be a sales rumor. We saw the same thing happen with Grid when we had the rumor that Cleanspark was going to be buying them out. It went up even more. Right? So let's see here. So I think I got Grid in on my chart here. I do. I mean, look at this here. Grid, rumor came out here, right? They were at like 59 cents, something like that. They went all the way up to $3. I mean, that's a huge increase here just on the rumor alone itself. But also they had a much smaller market cap than what Cipher has right now. I mean, that was a 500% increase in a matter of 5 trading days, or 8 trading days, sorry. Is it 5? 8 days. 5 bars, 8 days. So 5 trading days. Yeah. Huge increase there, and then it came back down. Once the news came out, the stock actually went down depending on what the price at that point was for the offer. So it could definitely be that. Time will tell, like I keep saying. Oh, sorry, I didn't want that one. Wanted this one. Okay. Narrowing it down to 2 or 3 miners, which ones do you think are most undervalued? Bitfarms, Hive right now, and who else might be there? I think BitTBT was another one here. Let me see on my sheet here where we're looking at on the enterprise value to market cap. I like looking at that one. That one's pretty straightforward. Enterprise metrics. Okay, let's take a look at it here. It is right there. This is as of today prices for the stocks of all of these guys here. I would say based on the companies that have growth, Bitfarms, you could say also Riot and Hive, I think. Core, possibly as well in there. Some of these other guys are getting a little frothy here. I mean, look at Hut 8. Hut 8 is now valued at 247 million per exahash. And their exahash is pretty small. They're like at 5-something exahash right now. So they're definitely getting way, way, way overvalued. I think most of that is based on the HPC AI play for them potentially. But then when you look at future growth, you can see where things stack up also. And that's why I would think that Bitfarms, Core, Riot, Hive, if Hive has better growth going forward. Core, we know, wants to grow to possibly 30, 35 exahash. They did announce 15 exahash from Black for the A6 machines there. That might get them to, if they take out 10 exahash with the old machines, put in the newer machines here at 15 exahash, you're looking at 25 exahash at that point. So there's some growth there, or yeah, I kind of look at it that way, I think. Yeah, but that's it. On that one, let's go back here. Let's see. Rob says Bitfarms. I thought CO was most of the FUD, but looks like it must be the Riot fiasco. Yeah, it was a combination of both the CEO thing, the Riot. What else? We should have gotten a much higher bump on new CEO announcement. Thoughts? If we didn't have the Riot thing, I think we would have had a much better bump on it. But I think the Riot is overhang on the stock right now, and it's going to continue on, I think, for a while. And that's why I'm still looking to buy more into Bitfarms, because I think it's just more undervalued right now. Let's see. Has Cipher had any recent facility buys or new mining units bought, or any plans for them purchase hardware-wise? No. They did recently, when was it, about a month ago or so, improve, I believe, their option to buy. They went from the S21s to the S21 Pros, I believe. And they are going to be changing those out over the coming months. Towards the end of the year, they're going to increase their hash rate to about 13-something exahash. But nothing past that. They're building out the Black Pearl site in Texas. That's going to be completed, or at least start energizing in 2025 sometime. We just don't know exactly when, but they haven't purchased anything else beyond that. At least nothing has been reported. Any thoughts on Square? Each month they invest 10% of their gross profit from Bitcoin products into BTC, and they are building the most powerful Bitcoin mining chips. Well, that is yet to be seen, right? As far as the most powerful Bitcoin mining chips. We also have Bittier getting into this field as well. Then you got also Auradine with Marathon. So we'll have to see what the true numbers are. We haven't had any details on the terahash for the machines, the joules per terahash. We don't have any details on that yet. So to hold off on saying that right now. But yes, it is nice to see that Square is buying, roughly 10% of their revenue into Bitcoin as well. It says, no, Seb, no more red days for Bitfarms. We had more than enough red days with Bitfarms. I would still like to buy more at a lower price if I could. Right. Let's see. What do you think BTC will do on Friday or next week? I have no idea. It is up in the air. I think the long run it will go up. Short term, it could come down. It could go up. I don't really care. These price swings that we're seeing here in the short term don't bother me. I see anything that's in the red zone as a buying opportunity, because I know that next 12 to 18 months things will be much better. Do you expect Bitfarms to dilute shares soon? I don't think so. Not that they came out on the fireside chat with, what was HC Wainwright, that they are fully funded. So I think that might be done and over with. To get to 21 exahash, they did say that they want to get to 35 exahash potentially next year as well from the Pennsylvania site that they got. And they are open to HPC AI. But we'll see what kind of contracts they're looking at with the HPC AI business there. Which small or medium-sized miners do you think make good takeover targets? We're looking for targets for Bitcoin mining or HPCI. I would say ones that don't have infrastructure. So BitDeer's out of the question there. They only have the customer with HPC. They host everything. Argo's out of the question. They don't have any infrastructure there as well. Sphere, same thing. Gryphon, same thing. They don't own anything. It's all hosted. That kind of leaves you with like DMG, Digihost, possibly Soluna. Who else is in there? I'm trying to think. On the smaller side of things. But yeah, that kind of leaves those. Maybe Hive. Hive is way undervalued from where it should be. That might be a possible target there. Let's see. Last cycle, Cleanspark went up 20x from $2 to almost $40. Can Cleanspark go up that high this time as well? Yeah, I think actually, well, not, I don't know, 20x. 20x, where did they bottom out at, really? Let's take a look at it here really quick on Cleanspark. Cleanspark bottomed out also in the end of December of 2022. Somewhere around there. They were, let's see, December, November, where they bottom out here? 2023, December. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So they bottomed out roughly at around $1.74. Now, from the bottom here, if you got in anywhere near that time frame, you're going to be doing really good here, especially if we think, or at least I think it might still go to like $70 per share this bull cycle. So at that point, what are we looking at? $70 divided by $1.70. Let me pull my calculator really quick. 70 divided by 1.7. You're looking at like 41x potentially, if I did the math right on it. So you still could do it also. You got to remember that Cleanspark last cycle, when they went public or switched over to Bitcoin mining, that was back in January of 2021. Let's see here, January 2021. The stock price at that point was, let's see, that's May. Where's January? There we go. January 2021, somewhere around here. So the stock price had a huge run up here from here when they announced it, right? Bitcoin didn't peak until, what was it, November? October, November of 2021. They only had 100 petahash at that point. They're looking to have 32 exahash. Huge growth from the last cycle for them. And that's why I think this number at this point here should not be really looked at really for them, because they were a totally different company at that point. But I think they were riding the hype train of Bitcoin, blockchain, all that stuff. And they had a really nice rally here. This was going back from October, and maybe they were talking about getting into Bitcoin mining or something like that, or something, and the stock had definitely rallied here, but they didn't start really mining until January of 2021 at that point. Okay. Let's see. What are your thoughts on BitDigital? They've had a great movement, and I'm hoping they will make continued growth with potential jump. Has there been any news or updates for BitDigital? Nothing has been updated yet. I talked to Sam on X Spaces. This was probably going back now 2 weeks ago. That was hosted by Dr. Lewis. I think I asked Sam at that time if they're looking to buy any infrastructure, because they're very asset light right now. They don't have any infrastructure. And he said they are looking for it. I think if they come out with that kind of news, that's going to do really well for the stock, I think. But there's really nothing new happening here with BitDigital right now. What are your other top stocks aside from miners and Rivian that you believe seem like a wise investment? Geez, that I don't know. I've been so focused on the miners, not really so much as on Rivian right now. I'm kind of keeping an eye on Rivian to see where it's going, but not really focused on it. Just the miners, I think right now. The miners have the most upside potential going forward into this bull run. I don't know if anything else outside of that has any better potential. It's a lot more volatile, but you're also going to have better gains potentially. What else do we have here? Ed says, Seb, you have way more experience than me in miners. What are the oldest publicly traded miners? What year did they start publicly trading? Thank you. The oldest ones are like Hive. I think Hive is like the oldest one. I think it came public in 2017. And that was on the Canadian TSX exchange, stock exchange at that point. And then you had, I think, Bitfarms follow along with Hut 8. They were right around the same time frame. Riot afterwards, then Marathon, and then you started seeing some of the other miners come into that point as well. Would the offer would be lower than current price of Cipher? I would think the offer at least needs to account for future growth plus premium, which could put the price of around $15 to $20. Well, that's kind of the way we're looking at Bitfarms as well, right? With Riot's takeover, it's like we're looking into the future here. If they're offering $6.50 or $7, whatever it might be, whoever that might be is offering for that stock price, at that point you have to think, what's my future growth potential there? The only thing you can say is, okay, you now have a potential lock-in on that stock price where it's more of a guarantee, whereas future potential is an unknown. You don't know if you can get that, right? You think you can get that. You think that Bitcoin's going to go up, but what if Bitcoin doesn't go up? What if, so you have to weigh all those things in, which I think the board is doing that. The same thing with Bitfarms board. They're doing also their due diligence, thinking where could they possibly go? Where are they getting it now? I think $2.30 was just a lowball number for Bitfarms. If somebody offers for Cipher like $6.50, I think that's still too low for them on that side of things. So yeah, I think 15 to 20 would be more of a proper valuation based on future growth plans in megawatts, all that stuff as well. Let's see here. Hi, so when are you start selling your miners? Thanks. When will I start selling my miners? Ways away still. I think if we're still at least 6 to 9 months away from me starting to sell right now, depending where things go, depending how fast things go as well. If things run up faster, I might be selling sooner. If things go slower, I might be selling later. I'll be just keeping things on to see where things go. Scott says, good night, Seb. Thanks for the stream. You're very welcome. Thanks, Scott. Thanks for coming in. Have a great night. And then Gary Pallet says, Seb, will any miner lose as much as Mara in Q2 earnings? I believe their losses could be double the second worst miner because of their cost per coin. Their cost per coin has been getting better. They now own infrastructure instead of hosting everything, so those costs should come down. On that, so I don't know exactly where they're going to land on that, but we'll see when it comes out. I don't know if they're going to be double. We know that they have a huge HODL position. The HODL position is going to be offset because of the Bitcoin price going down. So that's the FSB rules are going to reevaluate their Bitcoin value at that point. That's going to hurt them, sting them as well as with other miners as well that have a sizable position in HODL. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait and see how that's going to play out. I'm still not sure exactly how that's going to play out with the HODL, but we'll see. Gary says, yeah, Cleanspark wasn't a Bitcoin miner when it went from 2 to 7. Yeah, it was a microgrid provider, equipment provider at that point. And it just pivoted over into Bitcoin mining in January of, I think they bought the facility in December, and they went Bitcoin mining with themselves with like 100 petahash at that point in January. But yeah, that is it. All right, guys, we are all caught up with all your questions. Thank you so much for posting the questions, the comments, and everything else. Greatly appreciate you guys doing that. You guys make me think. I love doing that. Anybody that can make me think, I love it. So I can kind of get out of my own comfort zone on things. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow, we'll probably maybe look at the future valuations or future price targets for the miners on X multiples going forward. Not much else going on here. So we'll see if we get any news from Cipher, if they actually have a buyout target from somebody, or what's going on there, or if it's just false rumors on that. But yeah, we'll get into anything that's interesting. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys have a great night. And hopefully tomorrow will be green. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, have a great night.